What it do? Marc Henry here on the Third Coast Gridiron on the LSC Network and the Lone Star Podcast Network. Man, we had a big week one. Lots of scores and highlights to talk about. And we will talk about two grind and shine players of the week. Senior running back Lloyd Avant from Summer Creek High School had a monster game. And my guy, Dante Lewis over at St. Thomas, man, he went off. Man, these are two guys you might want to pull up on and see them before they go on to play on Saturdays, man. And we'll have a few scores and updates from week one, and we'll talk about a couple of games coming up in week two right here on the Third Coast Gridiron on the LSC Network. Let's take a quick break here from a couple of our sponsors, and we'll be right back here on the LSC Network.
With open enrollment coming soon for Medicare, ACA, Obamacare, and small group plans for businesses with less than 100 employees, if you're in need of health insurance solutions, look no further than HAP Insurance Agency. Yes, HAP Insurance Agency is a fantastic resource right in the heart of College Station, Texas. Whether you're in retirement, a business owner, or simply looking for the best health coverage option, HAP Insurance Agency has got you covered. You can find them in College Station at 1551 Greens Prairie Road West, Suite 101A, or give Holly Pritchard a call at 972-897-0814. That's HAP Insurance Agency. Do you have a party coming up or just want a special gift? Check out Nani's Sweeter Side. Yes, Nani's Sweeter Side makes the most amazing custom-created sugar cookies with your design. They also offer paint your own cookies and decorate your own cookies. Those make an excellent sweet activity that you can sink your teeth into at parties. Nani's also offers some of the most amazing cupcakes ever. You can check out Nani's Sweeter Side at nanisweeterside.com. That's N-A-N-I. Check her out on Facebook. Just look for Nani's Sweeter Side. Or give her a call at 937-499-4790. At Nani's Sweeter Side, you'll find that happiness is homemade.
And we're back, man. We appreciate you joining us here on the LSG Network, the Third Coast Gridiron H-Towns podcast. Man, what a week one. Let's go over a few scores and talk about some of the action around the H. Let's start out with Fulshire, ranked number 2 in the Third Coast Gridiron rankings with a big victory over Strake Jesuit, 51-23. Listen, they're 2-0 all-time against Strake Jesuit. This week, they will battle against Clements on Saturday, and Strake Jesuit takes on a strong Decaney team on Friday. Lake Creek gets the big victory over Angleton, 38-28 in a contest, listen, between two great teams. Ty Byers scored 3 touchdowns for Lake Creek. Junior quarterback Eli Marcos. Listen, we talked about quarterbacks last week, and I think that Marcos doesn't get enough love, man. He threw for a touchdown and also rushed for a touchdown. And listen, he gave his team a lift that brought them to their 5th consecutive win in their season opener. Barbers Hill comes out on top of Magnolia West, 28-18. George Ranch got a big victory over a very good Foster team, 38-37 in overtime. What a battle, man. George Ranch stormed back from 31 points down. Listen, they scored 31 unanswered to get back in the game, win in overtime over Foster, who's one of the better teams in the H, man. Listen, that's a big victory. Shout out to George Ranch for pulling it out in overtime. Let's talk about the Cuero Gobblers, who beat El Campo, man, beat them down 41-7. El Campo's got a new head coach. Travis Reeves, it was his debut at Gobbler Stadium. They had a big loss there. Listen, Cuero, the Gobblers are a very good team. They had a deep playoff run last year. and lost to one of the eventual state champions. And listen, they're going to be back right at the top as well, man. Shout out to Cuero. They're down from the Central Texas. I think between Austin and San Antonio and the Central Texas area, a tough team that you'll probably see, have a chance to go to Jerry well. Hitchcock comes in with a big victory over Refugio. Listen, Refugio is a great team. They have one of the best all-around players in the state of Texas. He's committed to Texas A&M. My guy Ernest, he plays, man, super fast, man. Shout out to Hitchcock for getting a big win. That's a big win over a great Refugio team. Bryce Dorsey, he had the go-ahead 35-yard pass catch from Lloyd Jones III with about 3 and some change left to get the victory, man. Shout out to Hitchcock. Big victory over Refugio. New Caney comes in with a big victory over Montgomery in a tightly contested game, 35-34, man. Shout out to Coach Mike DeWitt, with his head coaching debut over there at New Caney to get the win. Reggie Williams, listen, he was a monster for Montgomery, completed 11 of 18 passes for 151 yards and a couple of touchdowns, and also got it done on the ground for 131 yards as well, man. Listen, he's a guy that you need to check out. I'm very impressed with the film that I saw on him. They come up short, but New Caney takes on Porter this week, and Montgomery takes on Barbers Hill on Friday. Cinco Ranch with a big dub, a big win over College Park, 49-42. Man, some of these scores are like track meets, man. A lot of scoring this week around the H, man. Shout out to Cinco Ranch for getting the dub. Man, shout out to my guy DJ Lagway, my guy DeBron Hampton, and those guys up at Willis with a big victory over Brian Rutter. Of course, DJ Lagway, we talked about him last week, has been one of the better quarterbacks in the country. Listen, DJ went slap off. 425 yards and 7 touchdowns, all in the first half. Man, that's a monster performance, man. That's a grind and shine performance of the week. Shout out to my guy, DJ Lagway, man. We're going to reach out to DJ. That's my guy. I've had a chance to talk to him on several occasions, on the camp circuits, 707 and things like that. He's a great talent, but also a great person. We're going to see if we can get him on the Third Coast Gridiron here before the season is over. 19 of 21 passes. He didn't throw an interception and hit. Willis put up 45 big ones at halftime. DeBron Hampton, listen, he's a guy that you need to know, senior wideout over there at Willis. 3 touchdowns and 121 yards. On the night, Dalen Robinson had 2 touchdown receptions, as well as Amari Holmes. Jalen Mickens is another guy over there you need to know, and Jermaine Bishop Jr. Listen, Willis is loaded. If you don't know that the Wildcats are loaded, you heard it here on the Third Coast Gridiron, man, from your boy Marc Henry. They're loaded. They take on Temple on Friday at home. So listen, it's going to be a very good game. Temple's, historically, usually a pretty good ball club. They've always been a team that usually goes 2 or 3 rounds deep, and they got some talent over there. So that should be a very good game at 7 p.m. as the Wildcats take on the Wildcats from Temple. Listen, at Atascocita, shout out to my guy Zion Brown and those guys, my guy Braylon Conley and the Atascocita Eagles with a big victory over Dickinson. Man, that's their 5th straight against Dickinson, who came in ranked around number 13 in the area. 46-21, Dickinson gets, a tough loss to Atascocita. Now, Dickinson, the Gators will be right there when you come to talk playoffs. They do it every year, man. But they got a big one next week against Ridgepoint, who's a very good ball club. And the Eagles, they get a home game against Katy. The Big Red Machine comes to Humble to see Atascocita. I think that's going to be a really big game for those guys. 2 teams in the Houston area that usually are very, very good. Let's wrap up these scores before we take a break. Sea King 58-22 over Crosby. Clear Lake blanks Dulles 50-0. My guy, shout out to Dante Lewis, man. A big game against St. John's. The St. Thomas squad gets it done 63-49, man. Listen, Dante Lewis is a fabulous talent, man. He had over 300 yards passing and over 100 on the ground. He got it done, man. He's one of the best players in the area, man. He had a phenomenal junior season. He's back for his senior season. He's a Kansas State commit on the baseball field, but something tells me he's going to start reeling in some of these football offers now with that big performance in game one. Texas City 23-20 over Friendswood. Belleville 68-20 over LaGrange. Cy Woods takes care of Katy Taylor 49-42. Marshall comes in from East Texas and beats a very tough and gritty Klein team 21-15. Splendora gets by Cleveland 28-7. And shout out to Porter, man. Quietly a team that could definitely make some noise, man. Shout out to my guy Peyton Evans Pickens. A dominant performance on the ground. 210 yards and 4 scores. Listen, I had a chance to meet Peyton a couple of years ago at a camp up in the Dallas area. He's a guy that I thought was very, very good. I think he was injured last year, if I'm not mistaken. He didn't play a whole lot, but sounds like he's got his act together and he's back on the ground rumbling, doing what he should be doing. Pearland over Clear Falls, 45-41. Listen, man, we're going to come back and talk about our grind and shine players of the week. We kind of mentioned them already earlier. Lord Avant, Dante Lewis, and DJ Lagway. I got to have my guy in there with that kind of performance here on the LSG Network. It's the Third Coast Gridiron with your boy Marc Henry. We'll be right back.
Looking to boost your company's marketing? Look no further than Fresh Media Works. Podcasting is the best way to promote your brand and increase your customer base. You can create your own show, be a guest on other podcasts, or advertise on existing podcasts to reach a valuable audience. Don't wait. Start elevating your marketing game today with Fresh Media Works. Call now, 713-269-4620, or find us online at freshmediaworks.com/podcasting.
Let's talk grind and shine players of the week. I got 3 of them for you. 3 guys that you should pull up on and see them in person. We'll start with Lloyd Avant over at Summer Creek. 2 touchdowns as they ran through Klein Kane in a 28-21 victory. Avant, who recently committed to the University of Tulsa, 38 carries for 269 yards for the Bulldogs in a big, big victory. Listen, Avant can get it done inside. He can get it done on the outside. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. And he has the speed to go the distance, man. This is a guy that you're going to see playing on Saturdays. As we mentioned, that he's committed to the University of Tulsa. Man, he pounded a very good Klein Kane defense for 38 carries and 269 yards. Shout out to my guy, Lloyd Avant. You're a grind and shine player of the week here on the Third Coast Gridiron. We talked about my guy DJ Lagway at Willis, over 400 yards passing and 7 touchdowns, and he didn't even suit up to play in the second half. What a job. Way to grind and shine. If you grind, you shine. He put in the work. DJ's one of the hardest workers that you'll see. He's committed to the University of Florida. You will see him on Saturdays. Man, take advantage of why he's here now, man. Pull up on him. I'm telling you right now, DJ Lagway, grind and shine player of the week here on the LSG Network, the Third Coast Gridiron. And our last Third Coast Gridiron grind and shine player of the week is my guy Dante Lewis over at St. Thomas, over 300 yards in the air, over a bill on the ground. True dual threat quarterback, true dual threat athlete. He's a monster on the baseball diamond as well, man. He pitches, he plays short, he can play center field. He's already committed to Kansas State on a baseball scholarship. I believe that they might offer him a football scholarship, man. He's a leader over there at St. Thomas. He's coming back off of a year where they went to the semifinals and came up short, just a game away from state. I believe that St. Thomas is on their way, and the guy that's going to lead them is Dante Lewis. Shout out to him. He's our third grind and shine player of the week here on the LSG Network, the Third Coast Gridiron H-Towns podcast. I am your host, Marc Henry. We're going to take a small break. We'll come back and wrap things up and talk about a couple of games that you need to watch here on week 2, man. The H is going down, man. It's the Third Coast Gridiron on the LSG Network.
This show is brought to you by the book, All I Need to Know I Learned from My Texas High School Football Coach. A handbook of wisdom for parents, young people, and yes, even coaches. Head over to www.learnedfromcoach.com and order your copy to support sharing the stories of these great coaches and leaders. That's learnedfromcoach.com.
Man, thanks for listening to the Third Coast Gridiron. I'm your host, Marc Henry. Every week on the Lone Star Gridiron Network and the Lone Star Podcast Network, man. You want to hear everything about Houston High School football, tap in, man. This is H-Town's podcast, the Third Coast Gridiron. Okay, let's wrap it up. We're going to talk a couple of games that we just talked about. I kind of mentioned them a little earlier as big matchups coming into week 2. You got Atascocita taking on Katy, two rich programs in tradition, true rich programs and putting players at the next level. You got Zion Brown, who's one of the best quarterbacks in the state of Texas. Forget about the Houston area. He's one of the best in Texas. I've seen Zion Brown up close and personal, 7-on-7 at camps and in person at games. Braylon Conley, USC commit, out on the edge, one of the best cornerbacks that you'll find in the country. He was highly recruited before he committed to USC. Those guys are hungry. You know, they got big aspirations. They want to go to state. You got Jelani Watkins over there now. You got Blaylock in the backfield, a very experienced offensive line. Coach Stump is due. You know what I'm saying? You know Katy's a big red machine. They're going to beat Katy. But I think that this is the year that Atascocita makes a statement and getting a big win. They faced Katy in the playoffs on a number of occasions. They faced them, you know, the last couple of years in the second or third game of the year. So I expect them to be fully ready to go. I expect them to be hyped. I expect them to be ready to play some ball over in the Humble, man. You know, shout out to Coach Stump and, you know, the Atascocita Eagles hosting a big one. You know, Tompkins at Bridgeland, that's a big game. Bridgeland had a big win in week 1. Heights over in HISD taking on Cypress Springs. That's a big game. Shout out to my guy, Coach Steven Dixon over at Heights. He's done a phenomenal job and having that program, you know, get to the playoffs here over the last few years. And they got a quarterback over there, Reggie McNeil Jr., who you need to check out. This guy's a phenomenal talent. He's doing big things. The Heights had a big victory in week 1. You know, and I believe that, you know, these guys are going to be a playoff team when it's all said and done when it comes to making the playoffs. Westfield at Hightower, man, that's going to be a big game. That's at 6 p.m. on Saturday. Lots of talent in that. Fort Bend Hightower is one of the top teams in the state, and Westfield is one of the top teams in the state. Must see, pull up. That's a pull-up game that you might want to see. When I say pull-up, I mean you need to see this in person. Don't watch it on TV. Don't watch it on your computer. Get out, feel the air. Man, take you some popcorn, get you plenty of water because it's hot, and go and pull up at these games. That's going to be a very, very, very good contest that you might want to see when it comes to high school football in the Houston area. It's going down. Definitely might want to see that, man. A couple of more games that you might want to check out. New Caney Porter, Temple Willis. I talked about this earlier with DJ Lagway and those guys. DeBron Hampton, Jalen Mickens, Jermaine Bishop Jr. Loaded. You want to see this Willis team. They got aspirations to go to state. I had a chance to talk to DJ and DeBron at a particular camp I was at a few weeks ago. I want to say it was last month up in the Dallas area. And those guys, listen, they're ready to compete for state. That's all they have on their mind. They're not even thinking about that. They're taking it one game at a time, don't get me wrong, but this is what you're looking for in these guys. You know, I believe that they're a loaded team, and they're you know, got their sights set on Jerry World to get there. Another big game, Kingwood at Jordan. Look, Jordan, they're a very talented team. You got Zachariah Sample and Andrew Marsh, two of the best receivers in the country, not just in the state of Texas, on one team. Willits has been playing out of his mind. Colin Willits is one of the best quarterbacks in the Houston area. That's a big game. You know, I think Jordan is a team that can definitely punch their ticket to the postseason this year. I'm hoping that they do that. I've had a chance to get to know and talk to Zachariah Sample on multiple occasions the last 2 years. Great talent, great kid. You know, shout out to his pops as well. You know, great family as well, man. I believe that they're going to punch their ticket this year, coming out of that tough Katy district. And one game on Thursday that we will be attending, we'll be in the house, is Houston-Austin at Booker T. Washington at Delmar Stadium on 7 o'clock kick on Thursday. I had a chance to get over to Washington at the beginning of practice in August. And they look very good, man. They had a very good season last year. Of course, Coach Chatham has moved on to Alding Davis, and now they have their defensive coordinator, Coach Holloway, who's taking over. They're trying to build on something. They got a tough loss against Wharton on last weekend in a 12-6 affair, 12-8 affair, where they kind of gave up a long play at the end. But I think this Washington squad's very young. You only got 6 seniors, but they got a chance to make the playoffs again. They won't go undefeated since they lost this week, but definitely want to go out and check out the Washington Eagles in Houston, Austin, at 7 p.m. at Delmar Stadium on Thursday. Sorry, not Saturday. I had a slate of 4 games this week, so I'm thinking about games on Saturday. But, the Third Coast Gridiron will be in the house on Thursday to check out the Eagles against Austin. Man, listen, appreciate you for joining us and listening to us every week. We'll be with you for 16 long weeks, all the way through the playoffs, all the way through the state championships at Jerry World. Man, you can follow us on Twitter at Third Gridiron. You can follow me, your humble host, at MarkHen44, at MarkHen_44 on Instagram, and check out Top Texas Prospects. That's me and my guy Matt Davidson, also on the LSC Network, where we talk a little bit broader stretch of the state. We talk about games, players, and what's going on in the state of Texas, because we like to see those Top Texas prospects. That's it for this week of the Third Coast Gridiron on the LSC Network. I am your host, Marc Henry. We'll talk to you on next week.
Hey, football fans, Christmas is right around the corner. We have the perfect gift for your high school football fan in your life. Friday Night Legends, the board game. With Friday Night Legends, you can play the greatest high school teams of all time against each other based on their real stats. That means you can play the 1989 Odessa Permian Panthers of Friday Night Lights fame against the 2017 Mater Day team and really see who's the better team. Or what about Peyton Manning's Newman High School in New Orleans against Trevor Lawrence's Cartersville, Georgia team? There are thousands of teams in the library from all over the United States. Get your copy of Friday Night Legends at BoardGameLegends.com and be the hero of Christmas morning.
LoneStarGridiron.com. Access the complete history of Texas high school football, over 100 years of information, win-loss records, coaching histories, individual stats, records, and more. Lone Star Gridiron, the authority on Texas high school football.